had something to go take care of personally, so just you and I. And actually at 7:20, we're going to get a quick call from Sal Greco, the NYPD officer who was unceremoniously kicked out of the police department. It's been messed with, and it's all political persecution. Well, he has an update on his forthcoming lawsuit against Eric Adams in New York City, so I figure we get that real quick. And then I ask him what some of his friends who are still on the force are saying about what's going on with the invasion of foreigners, this latest wave of foreigner invasion. And when we are done with that, then I got a number of things we can go to. I want to revisit Hawaii tonight. I've been still watching what's going on, reading what's going on, and I'd like to just put a couple of things on the record. Maybe we can watch the new Greg Reese video, which is less than 5 minutes, so that would be a prime thing to watch, and take some calls. And then we'll see how far we go. I wasn't able to put as much time producing and writing the show in today as I usually do because Aurora woke up not feeling too well, and it was like in her stomach, and she didn't want to walk, so I was carrying her around all day. I was like, what the hell's going on here? So eventually we took her to urgent care and got a strep test, and she has strep. So I'm happy it's actually just strep, because that's the last thing. I said, do you want a COVID test? Nope, none of that. But I do want a strep test. And it was just the stomach thing and not wanting to walk because it was so uncomfortable. So, she's got a little amoxicillin. Listen, every child has to know what amoxicillin tastes like at one point or another. So just see what that is. It's not the worst thing. And I'm sure she'll be all right in a couple of days, especially how early we caught it. Because if we didn't know what the hell was going on, just let her gut it out, then by tomorrow or the next day, that could be hell. If anybody, even as an adult, remember what strep is like, it sucks. And as a kid, you tend to forget this, but there's this gastric aspect to it as well. And there could be throwing up and all that. Well, she didn't have anything of that going on, and hopefully we've avoided that. But she's strong as an ox. Anywho, she's sleeping, and may she wake up on the other side of the fence. Who knows? But, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you are ready to chill, because I definitely need to chill just a little bit before I go home and then start up the weekend. It's Labor Day weekend, so we won't be on the air on Monday night. But, something will happen. I'm sure that I'll go live and hang out with you guys. Sunday is still Sunday, so I'll be hanging out with all of you monthly subscribers for a little while in the early afternoon or late morning for our little Sunday get-together. Last night's finale of The Devil in the White City was fantastic. Another book down. Now this year, we did C.S. Lewis, we did Huxley, we did W.P. Kinsella, Shoeless Joe. We did Devil in the White City. So there's 4 books already down, and we still have Mario Puzo in October, which should be really great, especially since Jay Dyer has been doing a lot of organized crime deep dives this year. He has a couple of pretty awesome interviews with Sammy the Bull Gravano that have been out lately. So I think that he's definitely going to be in. He's definitely going to be in it and inspired to read it. So that'll be nice. I'll be auctioning this off next week. Figure out how to do this. We're going to try to do an auction this time around. So those among you who want it the most, we'll see who really wants it the most. I don't know. We're playing around some things. Definitely going to be still doing raffles, but wanted to see what we can do to duplicate an auction in a live radio setting. Anyway, thank you all, one and all. Jeff Harmon next week, perhaps Jay Dyer, and a few other things. But I think that's it for the. I think that is it for the announcements. Oh, there is one more. I need to wish little Oliver out there, somewhere out there in the American Midwest. Oliver, well, it's Abe Sinclair's son, so I'll call him Oliver Sinclair. Happy birthday, buddy. Got to hang out with Oliver this time last year in Myrtle Beach. He had already gone home by September 1st. They got a jump on that ride home a little bit early, but still, hope he had a good birthday today, and I'm just throwing that out there. And as you all know, birthdays, anniversaries, any kind of shout-outs, you just email me, and I'll see what I can do for you. All right, into the grab bag we go. First one up, a blank screen. Every once in a while I forget to do that still, but it is what it is. Headline from the Daily Mail, unheard tapes of Princess Diana telling how Charles said he was disappointed when Prince Harry was born because, quote, we thought it would be a girl. And that's been revealed for the first time. Of course, I'm sure Charles was most disappointed in Harry not being his at all. But you can't have everything, even if you are the cousin of Vlad the Impaler. So Harry is not Charles's. That's just one of those things you have to you got to get over it. Just got to get over it. You wanted a girl? Oh, well, at least let's just start with having a child that's your own. All right, here we go. From Loudwire, another feather in the cap of Metallica. They just beat out Taylor Swift for Los Angeles SoFi Stadium attendance record. While Taylor Swift has the hottest ticket going in music world right now, there's now another act that currently holds the attendance record for Los Angeles SoFi Stadium. That would be Metallica, who drew approximately 78,000 fans to each of their concerts over the weekend, as reported by the Los Angeles Times. The venue itself has a capacity of 70,240 seats, but Metallica was able to make the most of their production to allow more fans access the show while standing in the Snake Pit. It's the center of a circular stage that they put on, so they can put a couple thousand more people in the center. I don't know. I think I would have liked to be in the Snake Pit if somebody threw me some tickets, just because I have a friend of mine, Sean. We go back to high school. I got him into Metallica, and he was in the Snake Pit up in Montreal, or some Canadian date that they did right after East Rutherford. And wow, I mean, he was standing right next to all of them as they were playing. He got to the edge, and then he's just standing right next to Lars and James and Kirk. He's just right there. So that was incredible to see that. But, this is a smaller stadium, so they're making history in a smaller stadium, though 70,000 seats is nothing to sneeze at. But they were doing 80 and 82,000 a night in New York, so it's just a matter of, what are you going to be able to do to create more standing space? So good for Metallica. I love Metallica. Always will. I always will. I always get that too. People ask me, Frank, how can you love Metallica so much with Lars as a drummer? I love Lars. Now, it is true, he just stopped trying after a while, and he was never the most technically proficient. But as far as that band and those drums and the energy, and he always just gave himself up, emptied the tank every show, and just gave himself up to the crowd. I always loved that. So that drew me in. For a while, he was pretty solid. There's a lot of performances that I love going back to that are just absolutely solid, especially in the 80s, late 80s. But another thing you can never take away from Lars Ulrich is that he is an incredible arranger of music. Okay? The way he arranges most of the music, he's a great arranger of music and a good businessman, too. So can't take anything away from them after all these years. Outlasted everybody. What they built is incredible. All right, so let's see what else we have here. This one is from Zero Hedge. The headline, you're not going to believe this. Half of transbender. Half of transgender prison inmates convicted of sex crimes, Wisconsin data shows. That is not at all surprising. I would actually like to know how many of those who are not sex offenders are actually victims of sex crimes. I would like to get a breakdown of the other half to see whether or not they're, because I'm sure many of them are victims as well. And then, of course, to screen them for a couple other things But half of the transgender inmates in Wisconsin prison system were convicted of at least one count of sexual abuse or assault, according to data provided by the Heritage Foundation's Oversight Project. So, that's 81 of 161 transgender inmates at female prisons had a record of sexual abuse. Yeah. Again, not a surprise. And it'll fall on deaf ears because it's just whatever. Here's something weird for you. Strange. This is from The Sun. Listen to this headline. Death capsule. The death capsule inventor, dubbed Dr. Death, unveils grisly suicide booth. The sarcopod that asks 3 questions before suffocating the user. Dr. Philip Nietzsche has been dubbed Dr. Death and the Elon Musk of assisted suicide for his work in the controversial medical area. Look at that. Oh, this blue pod you get into, and I guess you just say goodbye. He made headlines after claiming his Sarco capsule could be used in Switzerland soon. The 3D printed coffin-like pod is filled with nitrogen, quickly bringing oxygen down from 21% to only 1% in about 30 seconds. A disoriented and euphoric feeling then follows before users eventually lose consciousness. You know, they were talking about this in either Alabama or Louisiana recently. There's some kind of controversy. It reignited all of the capital punishment stuff, though we're not even talking about capital punishment in many ways. We're talking about all the inventive ways we have of killing somebody if they've been sentenced to death. And this nitrogen poisoning or suffocation via nitrogen was what that whole recent article I was perusing recently was about. Nitrogen, how it takes you out of consciousness really quickly, and then away you go. And people are like, no, it's not humane, it's not you know, we've talked about capital punishment a lot on the show. We had a couple of really big talks. I'm sure it'll come back up one day, but as it pertains to just getting the job done, I think it's so weird how always just trying to, I mean, think about all the things we can be innovating, and the whole, how do we find new humane ways of putting a convicted murderer into the next life? How do we bring him to I mean, it's just so ridiculous. It really is. Why wouldn't you just do a bullet to the head, gone? No, it's inhumane. You're killing the person. We're all voting to kill a person. It's very strange. Now, this, on the other hand, is even strange. It's all very morbid. But death takes place due to hypoxia, that's low oxygen in the body's tissues, and hypocapnia, that's reduced carbon dioxide in the blood, followed by critical oxygen and carbon dioxide deprivation. We're ready to use it. We're ready to take a number of... Now, here's the thing. He continued, the person will climb into the machine, and they will be asked 3 questions, and they will answer them verbally. Who are you? Where are you? And do you know what happens if you press the button? Oh, this is... And if they answer those 3 questions verbally, the software then switches the power on so that the button can then be pressed. And if they press the button, they will die very quickly. You know, I mean, see, this is what I was talking about, too, with Mike King last night. If you didn't see that last night with Mike King from Profiling Evil, I think it was a really great discussion. Talked about detective work, but also profiling psychopaths, serial killers, cult leaders, cult members. But this is how is the psychopathy factor not on a stronger trajectory? When I asked him, how is society trending, and what are the things in society that you believe could be, if at all, producing more of these psychos? And do you think that we have more now than we ever had before? And he wasn't sure that we did. He wasn't sure that we did. Now, I think by merit of population growth alone, your psycho population is going to grow. I think that by merit of over the last couple of years of us becoming the number one consumer of psychotropic drugs in the world, prescribed and otherwise, is something that's going to bring the crazy factor, the detached factor to a boil. I think that there's a lot. The decline in religiosity, in faith, broken homes. As he said, it's not just, if you don't have two parents in the house, it's not that you have a prescription of being messed up, which obviously is right, because you can be in a household with two parents that are absolute monsters and they kept it together. So I understand that much, but there is a lot. There's a lot. Our culture has been fractured. I think that we are probably swimming with undiagnosed serial killers all over the place. And then there's just this. There's just this side of the culture. I mean, this is becoming commonplace. The science of suicide, human life being disposable, feeling the cosmic unimportance. Because this is not just about people who are terminally ill. The definitions of what counts as somebody who can go in and petition some sort of a medical authority to have your life ended has gone far outside the bounds of ALS or some other terrible wasting disease. God help us. It's like rage quitting life. So this is the kind of stuff that comes up for me when I think about the kind of craziness that a society produces, because obviously we're not talking about somebody murdering somebody else, but that this is a demand and that there is a market for this. I don't know. It's just weird. All right. Another one. Yahoo, real quick before we go to our break and then kick this show off. Weird monkey sightings spread across Florida City, cops say. I knew I wasn't crazy. Strange things occasionally happen at fast food joints, but a large monkey has been seen hanging out at a fried chicken restaurant in Florida. The sighting happened around 9 a.m. on Wednesday, August 23rd in Orange City, and Popeye's crew manager, Kimberly Villalobos, got multiple photos. Orange City is about 30 miles north of Orlando. Quote, I look over and I'm like, is this real? This can't be possible. Villalobos told WRBW, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, not only working here in my life. It's pretty crazy. Villalobos said the monkey was pretty big, too. Her report was soon joined by other sightings, raising concerns that there might be multiple monkeys roaming the city. Gotta watch out. Gotta watch out. Orange City police officials got wind of the drama. I wonder if these monkeys are the ones that have the herpes. Because we are covering the herpes monkeys story from Florida. There's just too much going on in Florida. I can't. Outside of maybe a 2-week maximum trip to go check out Universal Studios, have a couple of drinks at the Epcot Center or something like that. I don't know. It's just, I'm glad my mother didn't move down there, because there would be the reports that she would be texting me back. There's a monkey in the backyard. There's a lizard in the cabinet. There's a vulture that's throwing up on the garage. There's a peacock that's having sex on the front porch. Just too much. Anyway, have you seen any crazy sights like that lately? Things that should not be. You can call into the show later on. All right. Well, now that that's behind us, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, but do help me share. Help me share the show with whoever you can. Let's end this week. Let's end this week nice, shall we? All right. BRB.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's roll.
Yeah. My bad. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I'm having some pretty severe computer problems over here. And the computer's only 3 years old, but I have to replace the video card. I bought it, and I have it on the schedule for September 16th to have a big upgrade day over here. My buddy Derek plays bass for Set the Charge. He's also a IT whiz. He's going to come over here on the 16th. I hope I can last 15 days. It is getting bad over here. I know you see some of the guests that are coming in from Zoom just disappearing and reappearing on the screen. Well, that's all you see over there. For me, I have 3 computer screens in front of me. They're all very, very carefully organized, how I get all the media done, how I produce the show. All 3 screens shut off for maybe about a split second. For about a split second, all the screens shut off, and then they flash back on. When they flash back on, the start menu, which is on the far left screen over here, pops over to the far right screen over here. Then they immediately flash back off again. That's what the second disappearance is when everybody's on the screen. And when they come back from that blackness across all 3 screens, then the start menu is back on the far left screen. And this is now happening multiple times an hour. And over the course of that intro video that I just played, I heard for the first time the sound now doing little hiccups during these spazzes, these seizures that are going on. I hope it is only the video card that is the problem. Because if we start talking motherboards and shit like that, I might as well just do another fundraiser, another money bomb fundraiser, and start building a new computer. Which is ridiculous, because this is one hell of a machine that we custom built so that we didn't have to worry about this shit for, 5 years. At least 5 years. With of course, some responsible maintenance and responsible usage, of course. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. I'm dealing with a lot of technical issues, and I hope it's not cutting into your enjoyment of the show. All right, so here is what we got going on tonight. First thing up, I want to bring back a guest that we spoke to last a couple of months ago, Sal Greco. He's coming on with us again in just a second. Just so you know, I mean, we the last time that he was on. Actually, Sal's here right now. Sal, how you feeling?
How's everything, Frank? Actually, it's like a mixed reaction right now, because things are looking positive on one end, but you still have these little games that the New York City Police Department and Mayor Eric Adams personally is doing.
Well, this is what we have to get into, because it goes beyond your personal situation. It is also I think it's a pretty indicative of just the mindset and the kind of regime and that thug-like mentality that is not only running New York City, the 5 boroughs, but has sway over the whole state, because that beaver lady, Kathy Hochul, in Albany, she's cut from the same cloth. They are crazy. They're absolutely crazy. Now, last time you were on, we got the rundown of how your distinguished career in the NYPD was brought to an end by political persecution. It's the only way it could be described, because of not only your support of Donald Trump, but also your casual friendship with Roger Stone. You teased us with that you said you were preparing to bring legal action against Eric Adams. I guess where we can start off right now is, where is the latest on that?
Well, Frank, my lawsuit actually proceeded forward. It survived their motion to dismiss. So it's in front of the Eastern District of New York in Brooklyn, in front of Judge Block. And a couple of weeks ago, you can look it up in the articles, they proceeded forward with the case. It's against the 2 gentlemen from the Internal Affairs Bureau, Daniel Cutter and Jeremy Ornstein, who conducted their illicit investigation into me using Fugazi administrative subpoenas and accessing sealed records in violation of a court order. And then you have the Deputy Commissioner of Legal Affairs at the time, Ernest Hart. And then ultimately, the main one being left behind is the former police commissioner, who was a police commissioner at that time, Keyshawn Sewell. So as this goes forward in about 20 days, we're going to have a hearing where the city of New York, it's a split bill, the decision. So the split bill means the judge took the city out of the lawsuit, but kept the individuals in their capacity as city officials in the lawsuit. So the city is technically dismissed, but they indemnify the police commissioner immediately because they have to protect the institution.
Right.
So they have to decide if they're going to indemnify the other three. And then we're going to be in front of the magistrate judge, who will then set the terms of the discovery, meaning the dates and so on and so forth. So that's at the point we're at with that. But as you just noticed about Eric Adams, so here with Eric Adams, you have a problem. About yesterday, you saw that he had a political rally. He had a political rally at Foley Square where all his city agencies were tweeting out and putting on Facebook and blasting all over social media, especially the New York City Police Department, stating that to come to the rally and whatnot, stating to show up to the rally, and they're very, pushing forward a political agenda. Now, Frank, I was terminated because they didn't like my political agenda.
I know.
Off-duty hours, okay? Now they're pushing a political agenda during on-duty hours, and the police department is taking a stance to be behind the political agenda of Eric Adams. That is not only in violation of the New York City Patrol Guide, which is what they terminated me with, their rule stating you can't associate with someone who's reasonably believed to have engaged in or likely to have engaged in criminal activity. Mayor Eric Adams violated the New York City Charter, Chapter 68, subparagraph 9, Section A and B. And in there, you'll see that it states that you cannot, as a city official, ask your subordinates or coerce them into your, pushing your political agenda forward, which is what the NYPD in general has done as of yesterday, and other city agencies. That is in clear violation of the city charter. That is a conflict of interest. That is where I filed my complaint with the Conflict of Interest Board versus Eric Adams. You could pull up the tweet and look at it. But now, on the flip side of that, Frank, this will now be added to my lawsuit, because what it shows you is Eric Adams has, this guy is just all over the map, whether he's hanging out with criminals, whether he's double talking out of his mouth. He's saying he's going to save the New York City with the migrant crisis. Meanwhile, he created the migrant crisis. Now he's having political rallies using the NYPD as his, whatever you want to call it, his strike force, the agenda force.
Well, and that's just the you said that you get down to the basics again, comparing him to what has caused so much problems with you. I mean, you were never leading a rally anywhere. You were never in public or anything like that. I mean, you talked about how you met Roger Stone and you came to his defense in an online comment section, and he just kind of thanked you for being a stand-up guy, whatever. But that wasn't the beginning of a vocal political career for you, where you were outside and being visible. So it's just incredible to, again, like you said, the juxtaposition of what he has done to the office that he holds right now and what has been done to people like you. It just goes to show, I mean, it is indirectly related to things like that kid from, I don't know what school it was in Colorado or wherever the hell, he had the Gadsden flag on his backpack. And what did some people try to say? Oh, it doesn't have any kind of historical tie-ins to one bad thing or another. But recently, we are projecting it as a bad thing. Therefore, by association, no more American history, no more freedom of speech. Put it away. We don't want to see it. The same thing has happened to you, where they really much cast aspersions on people. They bill January 6th as an insurrection when it was nothing more than a mosh pit. But because they have all the branding capabilities, anybody that is associated with that is now an insurrectionist. Therefore, people like you are, known associates. So it is just a horrendous, inescapable psychological fight here, because obviously they don't hold themselves to any of the same standards.
That's correct, Frank. And also, while you mentioned this, is funny because there was a New York City police department sergeant that had lost vacation days and was suspended for having believe it was a Punisher patch on duty on her body armor or something. It's on her garment, on her uniform. So they suspended her for this, stating it's political in nature. But then how are you allowing your police department to push a political agenda publicly? This is in direct violation of the city charter and the NYPD patrol guide. See, Mayor Adams is full of unethicalness, we'll put it like that. Whether it's what he does in his personal life, hanging out all night long in these nightclubs, which, by the way, the nightclub I mentioned last time, Consafritos. Here's what happens at Consafritos. The owner, well, we thought the owner of the place was Jimmy Bronx Cafe, Jimmy Rodriguez Jr. He had a place called Jimmy Cafe back in the day in the Bronx. Fat Joe was over there. It had numerous incidents that happened, but very recently there was a podcast that was on YouTube, and you could also pull that up from my Twitter, where you see that two gentlemen are discussing how in that time frame there were cocaine buffets and it was coke in the bathroom, and the people that were doing it were baseball players, celebrities, possibly politicians, who knows, but this is what was going on at his old place, and now he owns this place, or so we thought. The actual owner of Consafritos is Police Commissioner Ed Caban's brother. This is now a fact. It's a known fact. The owner on paper is the police commissioner's brother. They are associating with Jimmy Bronx Cafe, who in the late 90s ran over his wife, or tried to, and was arrested for this. Caban's brother, Ed Caban, his other brother, see, Richard is on the deed that he owns Consafritos, or he's one of the owners of the corporation. The other brother, Ruben Caban, he had to leave the department because he was involved in a sexual harassment case. And the other brother, James Caban, he was arrested while he was a cop. He was terminated and then later on arrested again because he's nicknamed the Slumlord of the Bronx. Now you can see there's a picture of them all together with Jimmy Bronx Cafe and Eric Adams. So Eric Adams allows this insanity to go on in front of him, where they're associating with numerous people that they shouldn't be hanging out with, including other cops. There's other NYPD personnel that is also frequenting this place, which is a known drug den. I mean, there's allegations of drugs that needs to be looked at. There's other allegations also that I hear about this place, but they're pictured there with them. So then why is it okay for your police commissioner to be hanging around, quote unquote, people likely to have engaged in criminal activity, but you terminated Sal Greco for that, stating that Roger Stone is someone that is likely to have engaged in criminal activity? How exactly does this work, Frank?
Here's the thing I want to ask. I know that you're in Florida now. I know that you've put some distance between yourself and what's going on up here, but there's a lot of people. And as we can see now with the protests in New York City, various types of protests, and it's actually in many ways crosses political lines. There is a lot of Democrat and Republican crossover when it comes to what's happening to New York, especially the southeastern corner of New York over there, the city itself, the 5 boroughs, and what's happened to the culture, what's happened to the safety of the streets, the drugs. It's just incredible. And everybody sees their collective homes being destroyed, though some people are a little bit more willing to say it. What do you think about the chances of New York being able to ever recover its soul again? Is it gone? Do you have to wait for a few generations from now? Does it need just to be flushed out? Or, there's a lot of good people who are staying behind and who are, digging their feet in the ground, and they want to fight for their home. But man, it's hard when everybody in City Hall on up seems to be standing ahead of. And when I say on up, I'm talking about going right to D.C. because especially when we talk about the migrant crisis, that is a federal human trafficking operation. They've been busing and flying them into Westchester for years now, and now it's just well known. So what do you think about the prospects of people who stay behind and just they want to fight the best they can for their home?
Well, I actually applaud a couple of people here that you mentioned, the migrant crisis, and they were John Matlin, Johnny Tobacco, Scott Lebedo, Curtis Lever, and also Sid Rosenberg, because they were all out there and they all doing these protests at Gracie Mansion or in Staten Island or at Floyd Bennett Field or at Creedmoor Hospital in the Queens. And even Curtis Sliwa, who's now been arrested 3 times, I believe, in 1 week, and now he leads Donald Trump in arrests 80-4 all time. So while this is going on, these people are setting up protests, and there's many people showing up, thousands of people, and they're saying, no, we don't want these migrants in a what was a one time was a Catholic school, and now it's public property there in Staten Island. It's directly across the street from a park, a city park. You can't have all these migrants busting. I mean, the media loves to show you videos of these women and children, which there are a couple of them coming off the bus. And then right after the camera pans away, it's all able-bodied men that are military age. So what do you think is going to happen when third world country people who have no education, no skills, they don't speak any language, they can't get a job? What are they going to revolt to? What are they going to go to, Frank? I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. Crime's going to be skyrocketing. And you don't know if there's any predators there, because you've heard of cases in Buffalo where a migrant has raped somebody. I hear stories about the Roosevelt Hotel. There's stories there that are not being reported. Remember, illegals do not report crimes. If they're victims of crimes, they don't even know what to say or do. They don't speak a word of English. So this is for one instance, it's a problem from, yes, Washington, D.C. Joe Biden is to blame for a lot of this. You must close the border. As RFK Jr. himself, a Democrat, stated to a crowd of 1,000 people, unlike Eric Adams with his 200 people, when most of them were cops yesterday. RFK stated that you must close the border in order to save the United States. Eric Adams will not utter this. And I'll tell you why Eric Adams won't utter this. He has a flailing mayoralship. Everyone around him gets indicted. He hangs around criminals day and night. The NYPD despises him. His sanitation, fire department, everything's up in an upheaval, and he's partying all night long with felons and Concerfritos every night. Meanwhile, you have all these problems of migrants coming across, and he can't state the obvious. Joe Biden, President Biden, needs to say, you need to close this border. He won't say this because he needs to pander to the progressives, because the progressives are going to vote. And if he doesn't have these people voting for him, he only won his primary, Frank, by 6,000 votes. 6,000. And now you got to figure how many of these 6,000 have the migrants sitting in front of their house. And I understand that city council is full of progressives. So it's really down to the voters in New York. I'm not talking about Richmond County and Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, these moderate Democrats who don't vote. I know they don't vote because I don't know how, there's millions of registered voters and maybe a handful of them actually vote for mayor and city council. You need to go out and vote. That's how you beat even the cheating that's alleged. They only expect a certain amount to come out. If you overwhelm them with votes, then the reality is whoever you really are voting for is going to win. So you need to go out and vote. Moderate Democrats are the majority out there that are protesting. It's not Republicans. It's moderate Democrats. You are the ones that are going to make or break this country, especially in New York City. Do you want to see the psychos in city council that are basically pushing a socialist agenda? They're very anti-police. And look, I know the police have their own problems, but they're supposed to be helping you. And you have to understand that a cop in the street feels that the person that's going to make reports of false allegation against them, they could lose their job or their pension. So they're scared. And that's because city council empowers the criminal. What about your DA? Your DAs over there, all 5 of them are the same. They'll all say yes, yes, yes. And then when it happens, they'll prosecute a cop. They'll prosecute someone defending themselves. But then they'll want to make a real big statement, go after President Donald Trump in some fugazi case. And then some 80-year-old woman gets hit over the head and abused and assaulted. Oh, we got to let this guy let him out on ACD, and we'll just give him maybe 2 months probation, some garbage sentence. This is what's going on in New York City. The moderate Democrat and the independents are going to make or break New York City. Do you want to continue voting for this garbage, or do you make a stand the way I'm seeing now, where they go into these rallies and letting their voices be heard, and in some instances getting arrested with Curtis Sliwa in a civil disobedience in a peaceful manner? Or do you want to keep going down the road of destruction? Because it's going to get worse.
Yes, it is.
homelessness is out of control. There's emotionally disturbed people all over New York City.
It's hard
I'm
to
sure Adams walks right by them and doesn't say anything.
It's hard to categorize it too. It's hard to properly categorize what's going on because I mean, essentially, you've brought in, and I know that illegal immigration has been a horrible problem since the '60s, but but especially the last couple of years, you are talking about more. I mean, we're talking about a group of men alone that is bigger than most standing armies on the planet. Most countries do not have a standing army that is as big as this last wave of foreign nationals have been brought into cities like New York alone, and they're essentially homeless, illiterate people. That's just what it is. And as you said before, what's coming out of the Roosevelt or the Watson, I got a lot of friends out there that are telling me things are just disgusting. And I just wonder, well, first of all, here's the other, well, you were talking about DAs. I don't know the big structure over there in the boroughs too good. What's the sheriff situation? Is it a sheriff per borough, or is it a sheriff for all five? Is there any authority outside of Eric Adams that would actually be able to remove people from the state and get them out?
The sheriff of New York is actually, sheriff of New York City is Anthony Miranda. You don't know who he was?
No.
Best friends with Eric Adams. They were cops together.
Okay.
While he was grifting with the 100 law enforcement blacks back in the day, Eric Adams, because believe me, he was never a real cop. He was always a political figure. And he was, believe me, taking donations back then. Anthony Miranda was in charge of the Hispanic version of that. So he installed him as the sheriff. And then the other day, there's an article that he's involved in some, it sounds like a scam where the city, I believe, is going to buy into this COVID thing where it's called invisible masks. Look this up. It's actually from the publication's called The City, and it's Anthony Miranda's in there. And he's the New York City sheriff, very close friends of Eric Adams. They were cops together, so you can only imagine what kind of scams and scandals were going on back in the 90s, where Eric Adams was, of course, a bodyguard and associate of Louis Farrakhan, Mike Tyson, and Al Sharpton, as Politico pointed out last week after I tweeted out a picture of Eric Adams and Al Sharpton together in 1993.
And there he is dogging out Curtis Lewa on the news this past week. Yep. I saw him dogging him out over there, and wow, man, if that is really, I didn't know how complete the swindle really was here. That's why I had to ask about the sheriff, but there is literally nothing for New Yorkers to do but to continue to protest and to hopefully, like you say, overwhelm any kind of fix that is in with these Tammany Hall style elections.
Yep. But because, listen, Frank, the election every year, even in the mayoral elections, it's always a low voter turnout. It's never as much as there could be. I think there's 8 million registered voters, and who shows up? 200, 300,000 voters? I mean, even if you did those ballots, whatever they call absentee ballots, nobody's doing them in New York City. So it's like you only have yourselves to blame and look in the mirror when you see your garbage outside piling up. You see that didn't Eric Adams supposed to have a rat czar? I saw a video where there's nothing but rats all over the place in New York City. So it's a garbage problem, okay? Then you have all these issues with the homeless. He doesn't care about his own people. And everything about him is a wink and a smile. And listen, I'll give you another example. Right now, since July 21st, I'm expected a New York City Police Department retro check, okay? My check from my time as the last 5 or 6 years, the PBA, the union I was with, they settled the contract, therefore I'm supposed to get a check. Frank, it's September 1st. There's still no check in the mail. Not only that, my lawyer contacted the city lawyer, the one that's in charge of the case I have against the New York City Police Department and the city of New York. No response. You call their office. Nobody answers in payroll section. Meanwhile, I understand that there's officers that were retired or terminated that had their checks already in the mail. They've already received them. And if you go by their logic, which is by surname, my last name being Greco, how does somebody with the last name that starts with the letter M get their check before me. So you see, Frank, these people playing games. Eric Adams is the king of this. He's the swagger mayor. He's the hip hop mayor. What he really is a complete failure as not only a politician, but he's failing as a human being right now. The most decent thing to do right now would be, Eric, admit what you're doing is wrong. Your city is in flames. You're hanging out in Israel where it costs $34,000 to even send you there. Not only that,
he was in Israel recently?
Yes, he went to Israel last week. The city has all these problems. He's in Israel at $34,000 clip by some donor who also has contracts in front of the city. So this is like borderline conflict of interest. Again, it sounds unethical. He's over there playing the tambourine and partying in Israel, kind of like he does over here every night at Concert Fritos with his whole police staff. And look, the city was, chaotic. And then he comes back, and last Friday night, he was at Concert Fritos again, getting off the plane from Israel, hanging out with Timothy Pearson and Philip Banks and Jeffrey Madry, and they're all hunky-dory over there with a bunch of other police officers. Meanwhile, the city is in chaos. This is the real Eric Adams. Let's not sugarcoat the guy.
No.
And by the way, Frank, this guy, Eric Ulrich, that was the housing, he was in charge of housing, the building department, while he was in building commissioner under Mayor Adams. He has a case where they're saying that he was involved in a bribery case. In this case, Eric Ulrich himself admits to the prosecutors, and it's in the Daily News, Eric Adams tipped him off. Eric Adams told him, hey, watch your phone and watch your back. You're also hearing now that they have phone calls that were being listened to where Eric Adams is talking to Eric Ulrich. Now, I want to go back in time. Alvin Bragg is charging President Trump with obstruction over what? Nonsense. Over what's her name? Stormy Daniels in a Fugazi case. Then you have Georgia saying that there was a phone call that President Trump had with him, which is obstruction because he mentioned something about votes, which if you listen to the whole conversation, that wasn't exactly what was said. But they're just going to play the one clip and say, put him in prison. Eric Adams saying this to Eric Ulrich, Frank, I was a cop many years. You could ask any attorney. That sounds like obstruction of an investigation to me. So I don't know what Alvin Bragg is doing, if he's covering for him, because I know they take pictures together as well, and they're all partying with each other. In fact, there's a captain, this guy, Shepard, Tariq Shepard, he went from captain to deputy commissioner. He skipped every single rank. Why? Because he's in a picture with Alvin Bragg, so they're best friends, so you got to promote him, skip all the ranks while other people have to wait years and years and years for it. You know, my hat's off to him if he's able to do that. But do you see how things are working in the police department?
No, don't, yeah.
It's so corrupt.
Yeah.
It's so corrupt. It blows away any error ever in New York City that involved the mayor and the police department when they had the mayor's office and the police department, the NYPD. This is a total sham and a disgrace.
I don't know if I brought this up the last time you were on, Sal, but on Netflix they have a series that they produced maybe about a year or two ago. It's called Fear City, and it's all about yeah, you watched that one? I got to rewatch it again because I remember just having a really good time and just sinking into it. And the one thing I took away the most, as they're showing how bad the city was in the late 70s coming into the 80s, the control of the Cosa Nostra and pretty much how there was this growing face-off between law enforcement, organized crime, and how the RICO charges really were the things that started taking the whole thing apart. And toward the end of that series, I said to myself, yeah, I guess we had problems prior to, the 1990s, 1980s, or how all that. But I don't know. Was there a balance? Was there a better balance when there was at least one other gang in town? It's just like the fact that this is more the control and the influence, the undue influence, is 10 times as much as anything you read about under the control of the Gambino family or anything else. It's just incredible how there's just only one gang in town now, and life is not better. It's certainly not better for anybody. And that's just not, let me ask you this. With your lawsuit, what's the probability? And if it does happen, when will it happen? Are you going to be able to be in the same courtroom with Eric Adams? Will he have to go and face you, or will he be able to have himself represented by proxy?
Well, he would definitely be subpoenaed. I have 10 people that I could call as witnesses, and he would be obviously the final one, because it'd be a good showdown between my attorney, who knows him very well, worked with him, and they're kind of like oil and water. So it would be my attorney, Eric Sanders, who at one point was the vice president of the Guardians, the same group that Eric Adams thinks he was in charge of at one point, versus Eric Adams. He would definitely be subpoenaed because, number one, if you remember with the Cardi B incident, Eric Adams was the one that stated that the NYPD and the city stated that there was a court order, and meanwhile, there wasn't ever a court order. In fact, Eric Adams stated that she was invited to the police academy. He was upset he wasn't invited there when she was there, and that we don't discard people. Further, in furtherance of this case, now you have the Consofritos angle. You have Ed Cabani's police commissioner, who was the first deputy commissioner and also had his hands in my termination. His brother, hanging out with his brother, and then also hanging out with this guy, or they own this place together. It's almost laughable to think that there's nothing going on there, because this guy has a history, Jimmy Cafe there, he has a history of being involved in narcotics from when he was in the first place he had.
Right.
So there's a relationship there. That's an issue. That's a big issue with the police department under that very rule they terminated me for. Eric Adams is standing right next to him. He's approving this. Eric would have to answer for this. And now this latest case where I filed my complaint with the board of the conflict board, your problem here is Eric Adams is using his police department to further his political agenda, and that's a big no-no. And unfortunately for him, unfortunately for me, that's what he terminated me for, is on the political agenda. Nobody likes the MAGA crowd, right? I was the big MAGA cop because I'm friends with Roger Stone, right? And I supported President Trump.
Well, Sal,
my argument.
The reason why I ask is because unless he has to actually go into a courtroom and take time out of his schedule to be seen physically in a courtroom, I doubt you're going to get the lawsuit is even going to get a substantial amount of media coverage if he can just allow this to happen, be fought by proxy or something like that. I think it is so important to be able to be able to create an opportunity where you can face him in a courtroom.
Well, that's the whole thing, Frank. I'm sure that he's going to have, his snake oil salesman kind of lawyers try to hide behind them and say, oh, well, he's the mayor. Unfortunately, not only does he have the fact that he's the mayor and he's the only one that could terminate the police commissioner who's hanging out with criminals right in front of him, and he's not saying anything about it. His behavior with this complaint I just filed is another issue. And then, Frank, his own investigations. He was investigated for being involved with Mike Tyson, Louis Farrakhan, and Al Sharpton. He was a bodyguard and an associate of theirs. I was terminated, and they wrote that I was uncompensated security for Roger during January 5th and 6th. I mean, it was a complete fabricated, made-up charge. There was no evidence to this, but yet they kept it on there, and they kept harping this their whole time. So there's a contrast to how I was treated and how Eric is treated. And I know he had big-time attorney Norm Siegel at the time, and he'll probably run behind Artie Idala, who, I don't know the last time that guy ever won a case in New York, a big one that is. He's probably going to hide behind him now. So we're going to see how this plays out. Obviously, it's like a chain, like a ladder. You go, step up the ladder little by little. Obviously, I have access to Keyshawn Sewell's records. I have access to the police commissioner's office because she was left in a lawsuit. We will lead to Ed Caban. And then ultimately, how does anyone shut down the fact that Eric Adams has his fingerprints all over this?
Well, we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. And I of course, we'll have you back for periodic updates because I'm really interested in this. I think it's a really a great story, whether you're a New Yorker or not, to follow along from or with. Let me ask you this one last question before we wrap this up. and it's a little bit more just generalized to your police work. You were talking about the homeless. You were before how bad that's getting. Obviously, it's being exacerbated by a number of things. Just the economy in general, how culture has degraded. We have so many drug issues. The drug issues continue to change. I mean, were you around at all when this whatever the hell this drug called Trank is started showing up? Were you actually working the beat? Were you on the streets when this started showing up? It's in many major cities now. It turns people into literal standing in place zombies, and it's really quite disturbing to watch. But so were you around for that drug's arrival?
I was actually working. I remember seeing many people that would be just hanging out in the street, and you'd almost look over and say, how is this guy standing? Because, if that was a regular person, he'd fall over. And you could tell that he was high on something. We just didn't know at the time what that was. And then you would just call the ambulance and say, hey, take him to the hospital and, detox the guy, because he's just standing there kind of like a zombie. But how he doesn't fall over, I don't even know, because you would fall over trying this.
They're
so
twisted.
It was some super hyped up, intoxicant that he'd take, or something. I don't know what he was on, but I've seen this, over the years. I mean, I started in 08. I started in Crown Heights, so I've kind of seen it all from Crown Heights to Coney Island, back to Queens, South Jamaica, the Bronx, Brooklyn. I never worked in Staten Island, but I lived there. But I've seen a lot in my career. I've done a lot. I had 320 arrests. I have 50 medals. I have all this stuff on my record, but apparently I'm just not good enough to be in the NYPD because they don't like my politics. But hey, if you're for Eric Adams and his politics, that's fine. That's fine and dandy.
Well, it's like I said. You're fighting a fight that has to be done. Everybody's doing what they can do, whether the odds are good or not. Eventually, something's got to give. Let me ask you one more question about that homeless, because this is always very reflective on culture on this show. Your experience, was the drug issues and the mental illness always this severe, or is it just a difference in volume, that there's just so much more, or is there so much more people on the streets and the actual illness and the drug issues are that much more severe than, let's say, even 20 years ago? Because I don't know, I didn't remember every homeless person being schizophrenic, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. What do you just from personal observation, what do you think is going on here?
What I believe it was 20 years ago, you had Ray Kelly was the police commissioner. He's a great man. Some people may or may not like him. I was a fan of his for one reason. This man was very hands-on with everything, where he rewarded cops that took action, were proactive, and you can't be reactionary, but you have to be proactive if you want to get anything done, whether it's in a courtroom or in the street, as far as law enforcement goes. So his big thing was you arrest your way out of a situation. So what they would do is, if the guy didn't want to go to hospital, you just arrested him, which that may be wrong. But they had a lot of people that were homeless and they had mental issues, and he just arrested them. They'd be in a system forever. I mean, you could debate whether that was right or wrong, but that's why you didn't see as much at the time. Later on, when Bill de Blasio takes over, all chaos ensues, because he's very much a hands-off, and then not only hands-off, but there's no solution. Like, should this person go to a mental ward? Should he be picked up and go to a hospital? Should we try to counsel him?
Well, I remember Bill de Blasio was also, as soon as he showed up, he started doing things like decriminalizing public urination, and all these other, like, rolling back public standards, because he said that the impact it was having on people had very big racial undertones and overtones, which is, I think, which is ridiculous, because to think that black, brown, purple New Yorkers with any kind of dignity feel would be okay with somebody urinating in public as long as they were black or white or whatever is so ridiculous. So we saw the actual legislative rolling back of public standards immediately once de Blasio showed up.
That's right. De Blasio kind of rolled everything back. He took away the broken windows theory. of the precinct. So the way we did things, broken windows, I was a big believer in that. I would go out, I look for the guy publicly urinating. I look for a guy that left his car unattended because they would steal those cars. I didn't like the people that go in the park. If you're in the park after a certain time, 9 o'clock, wherever the park officially closes, you're in a neighborhood in, let's say, Coney Island, but you live in New Jersey. Why are you there? Why are you making noise? Because these people can hear you from their house. They can't sleep. You're singing songs, lighting fires. That wasn't, I would go in there and I would write summonses. And if they had a warrant, then we have to take him in and he has to go to jail for it. But this is the kind of stuff I enforce because it's a neighborhood problem. Now, with Bill de Blasio, as time went on, he took this tool away from us. They made a criminal court summons, a different kind of summons, where it's called an oath summons. It means, here's your ticket, and if you go to court, don't worry about it. Like, that's basically what it was. It's like a little bogus slap on the wrist. So he took away the quality of life. The quality of life went down. With that, the homeless doubled. It kept doubling. It kept multiplying. Then you have these emotionally disturbed people running around, and then they start committing crimes because there is no attention to them. And now, here come Eric Adams' favorite, the migrants. And the thing with Eric Adams is he says he was a police officer, but trust me, he never really was. He was always hiding somewhere. He only has like 5 arrests in his career. He always goes back to his police career, but what did he do as a police officer other than hang out with criminals and be a rabble-rouser and run around like a politician? That's what Eric Adams was. He doesn't know how to handle things, you see? Right. And you're seeing that firsthand.
Let me ask you one more question. Since we're talking now we're moving up to Eric Adams, and one last thing about his hands-off kind of attitude. I saw today there was this, or maybe it was yesterday that it was published. Where the hell is it over here? He is talking about how we're running out of EBT cards and we need more EBT cards and please send them over. We need food and all that stuff. So again, not removing people from the city and the state, but we need somebody to send money and we need housing. He was telling New Yorkers to consider opening up their homes to these unvetted foreign nationals before. But my question to you is, and if you have any of your friends who can give you any insight, what is going on with the motorcycle madness? These mopeds apparently are all over the place. They are they're being driven, bobbing and weaving through traffic day and night. They're being confiscated more and more. There's no licenses on them, so new arrivals have them. So who the hell is providing these bikes to the invaders is what I want to know. Where the hell are they coming from? They're in the thousands.
I was actually, when I worked the Citywide Traffic Task Force, I was on a DWI unit that then changed, and they wanted us to write summonses, and I was under investigation, so I still had to do it. Which, by the way, under investigation, I still have my gun and shield. I never lost my gun and shield until I was finally terminated. So get this theory of me being some kind of bad cop. I'm so bad, but I was still working full duty. So they used to have these little details, we call them. So what they would do is they would take 8 cops and send them to the Bronx or wherever the area that had this in particular problem. And what it is these vehicles or mopeds or whatever you want, ATVs, they have these fake plates, license plates. They're not from New York. I don't know where to get them from. They're from different states. These vehicles come from different states. And then they bring them around here, or they might drive them or put them on their car. And then they show up here and they're driving around knowing that police officers can't follow these people or chase them because it's in the patrol guide, vehicle pursuits. You're very thin ice. And I heard Chief of Patrol, John Shell, I know him. I worked for him when he was a captain. Great guy, great cop, very proactive, loves proactive cops, okay? But the problem is he's looking at this like it was when I was working underneath him. This is the year 2010. We are now in 2023. And you're already seeing that there's been numerous fatalities and there's been accidents and there's been people that are hurt because the police are chasing these people that have no plates on their car, the mopeds, you're going down a road that doesn't favor you. City Council is just itching for a reason to take even more proactive ways of police of how they do their policing and take it away from them, or incarcerate all the police department. That's what they want to do. So John Schell has the right idea, but the way he's saying it contradicts the patrol guide. So eventually someone, when the sword has to fall on somebody, it'll be on John Schell if he remains the chief of patrol, because he might become the chief of something else. But his rules are to chase the car no matter what, until, as you saw the other day, this officer, I believe, threw a water cooler at somebody who was on a moped, and it somehow this killed this person. So now this guy, now nowhere in the patrol guide or anything, anywhere there's a state you could throw an object at somebody. So we're going to see how this goes. There's a criminal investigation, there's an internal investigation, but this is the mixed messaging that comes from a chief that says one thing, your patrol guy says another, and then you're out in the street saying, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah, yeah. And that's totally outside the bounds of the fact that every last bike and moped outside of these once famous hotels being converted into refugee buildings, every last one of those motorized vehicles should go. There's no reason why a person should be allowed to drive anything especially with a motor on it, in an American city on American streets. It makes no sense to me. But all the headlines surrounding this and the chaos that's ensuing, it just continues on, and I can't get any straight answers. Sal Greco, let everybody know where to find you, how to support you, and we'll have you back soon. I think you might even come into the studio sometime late October. That would be really fun. Well, that'll be a night of just talking shop, and I want to ask you about every time you work security at Yankee Stadium. I want to talk about everything. So where do people find you?
All right, so you got anyone out there, you can find me on Truth Social at Head of the Table. On Instagram, it's at The Sal Greco. On Twitter, it's at The Sal Greco. I do have my own website, as Frank correctly stated. It's The Sal Greco, okay? I'm sorry, salgreco.com. You go there. I have merchandise for sale. You can see the shirts there. I do have the shirt that one of our friends did buy from me on my other website. Sal Greco did nothing wrong. Also, there's a support button. So if you do want to send me a generous donation, that helps me go a long way with everything, because, as you could tell, right now I can't even get the money that's owed from me. That this could become another issue that surrounds my lawsuit. So you can hit the support button, or you go to the other button on the front of the page that says get in the fight. That also leads to the donation page. And, I'm very thankful for the opportunity on your show here, Frank. Last time I came on, and it was an outpouring of support. There were a lot of people that donated. There were a lot of people that bought products, and I'm really grateful for it. God will see everyone through this. I'm not doing this just for me, Frank. I could have easily just gone away. I could have probably even asked to get a job with President Trump himself. But I'm sitting here with my 2 feet dug into the sand, going up against this entire establishment, because they're all corrupt. And I'm putting a light, just like you shine a light on cockroaches. They always scatter when you do that. That's all I'm doing, because behind me is all of you as people. I'm just your vessel. Once I get this through, once I face these guys one-on-one in a court with whatever happens, there'll be plenty of others behind me that have their own cases against people. And if you're wrong, if you're not wrong, if you're not guilty of anything and you've done nothing wrong, then you fight for what you believe. And that's something my father believed in, and he installed in me. And I believe it, and I take it out of my actions, you could see. I'm not a liar. I don't like to lie about anything. Everything I say, if you do the research, you're going to say, wow, Sal Greco's right. That's how it was when I was a cop. That's how it was when I was in Bensonhurst. That same thing when I come there, Frank, and I tell you which is the best pizza, because I hope we have Frank Pepe's that night. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm hoping that we have a nice little pizza party when I'm there and have some good pizza, because we're 2 paisans. So I'm looking forward to that. And thank you, everyone, for your support. God bless you. God bless you, Frank. God bless everyone else out there. And keep me in your thoughts and prayers.
Oh, we definitely will, at the very least. Thank you so much, Sal Greco. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank.
All right. Be well. There he goes, salgreco.com, and at the Sal Greco on Twitter and Instagram. And there you have it. I said, hey, Sal, you want to come on for 20 minutes? It's 8:05 right now. Well, hey, you just go with it. And I just kept coming up with questions, and he kept giving me great answers, and Oh man, I can't wait to have him in studio. That's gonna be a fun night. I've got so many things. Like, as far as I have a lot of questions about police work. These supposed ice cream truck wars. Like I said, have you ever been to or unknown places in New York City, little known places? I just want to learn. I want to just I don't know. I want to unlock secret knowledge. When he comes up here, we'll hang out. Maybe we'll do that. It'll definitely be on a Friday night in October, probably late October. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gents. Thank you so much. We're going to take your calls, and I want to do a little bit of a Hawaii roundup soon, too, on the other end of the intermission. So don't go anywhere. Keep sharing. Invite your friends here for the last half of the week.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to intermission.
Quite frankly.
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 We all support quite frankly.
Not quite.
Quite frankly.
Let's go, Brandon.
Quite frankly. In Roma, Italia. Quite frankly. You going on Frank's show tonight?
I want to get a Coke. Can I get a Coke?
So everybody watch. Quite frankly. With Frank.
How dare you?
Watch this. Let me know if anybody else out there knows what this is.
Reservations, phone 1-800-441-4410.
Beautiful Mount Airy Lodge, all you have to bring is your love of everything. And what the hell is that kiss on the nose? It's so sensual. And this popped up on Instagram the other day, and I said, yes! What was Mount Airy Lodge? I would see these commercials all over the place as a child, and I was looking at some of the comments. Here's one. I'm 43. It's June 25th, 2023. I can't tell you how many years it's been since I've seen this commercial, and yet I still sing the lyrics immediately. What are the kids saying these days? Core memory unlocked? Yes. But I wanted to see if anybody in the comments had actually been to Mount Airy Lodge. I think it's in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. And it is still around, because I went to MountAiryLodgeCasino.com, and here it is. Spontaneous. Everybody's, I guess they're playing. Be playful. It looks like children are persona non grata here. It's just be romantic. It's just that guy's picking up a hooker at the bar. That guy has a hooker. This hooker has a guy. Oh, yeah, she's. You know what that look means? You know what that look means? She's about to get laid. So, what is Mount Airy Lodge? Is this a brothel? I don't get it. You had people doing somersault dives into the pool in the 1990s commercial, and all I see on MountAiryCasino.com right now is just people who are about to get laid. Do they provide the women? Do I have to bring somebody? So, does anybody know what goes on at Mount Airy Lodge? Have you been there? Reservations. Experience extraordinary. Mount Airy Casino Resort is in Pennsylvania's first AAA 4-diamond casino resort and has kept this distinction for more than a decade. Our premier adult resort. See, what does that mean? Is that like that hedonism resort in the Caribbean? Our adult resort welcomes guests aged 21 and over to be extraordinary with fully customizable itineraries. Our concierge team will help you plan the perfect getaway where you can be romantic, be adventurous, be pampered, be lucky, be you. This sounds... I don't know. And so I went into the comments because I said has to be somebody in here who was in it. And where the hell? Here you go. Oh, lucky Latoya. Okay? Oh, lucky Latoya went there. And here's what she said. The Hubs and I fell for this excellent marketing and commercial and went there for my honeymoon in 1999 before there were online reviews to peruse. It was like something from The Shining. Dated carpet in the hallways, stars of yesteryear on the dining room walls, champagne bathtub, grounds in need of repair. Oh, I know exactly. You know, when I saw this comment, I said, I have got to star this, and I hope I can find it again during the show if this does actually come up. And I saw it here. See, I want to do this with you guys. Matt would probably have really had something to say about it, but I can totally get that. And I was hoping that she actually said something about the carpet. What was the state of the carpet? Lauren just texted me. She says, "Oh my God, I still know all the words." I know. It is truly a core memory, especially up here in the Northeast, because you know that Pennsylvania. It's really. I guess they must have been advertising in Ohio as well, but my gosh. Beautiful Mount Airy Lodge, all you got to bring is your love of everything. And they played it nonstop. And, you know, I never actually understood what the hell it was, even as a kid, even though people were jumping into pools and stuff. Then somebody under that said, before the Poconos became ghetto as hell. The stars of yesteryear comment on the dining room walls, that is something that is very liminal. And I understand I understand exactly what you're talking about. Like you go into the dining room and they just want you to feel like you are surrounded by images of elegance and high life. So they're going, you would walk into, I can just see it. You walk into this dining room. I wonder what the wallpaper looks like, what the chandeliers, what the lighting in that place were like. It's probably chandeliers with missing crystals. Things missing from it, just fell over the years. From all of the Ghostbusters that came in there and to remove the demons that have cropped up. But I can see pictures of like Farrah Fawcett and Burt Reynolds on the wall. Things like that. Where it's not even very good quality photographs anymore, or maybe they've been sun bleached, or they've been just I don't know. You know what I mean? Champagne bathtub and grounds in need of repair. I can smell the carpet. Can you? I can smell the carpet. But yeah, the marketing team, they deserve Lifetime Achievement Awards. Somebody said they should give the marketing team an Emmy. I think they should get a Lifetime Achievement Award. I will be able to sing that song on my... I'm not even going to say it. Yeah. Lauren just says the love of everything taking on a new meaning. I know they have everything there. What do you have there? Is there anything that you don't have here in Mount Airy Lodge? I should call them up on the show one night and ask them. But again, look at this. Look at the end of this. Can I fast forward? I want you guys to really take a look at this nose kiss. That if I ever had anybody come in and just... This guy is kissing this girl's nose. But if I were the girl, or if anybody did that to me, where they came in and just so softly pecked me on the tip of the nose with their lips, I would be so skeeved out. Because it's just such a soft, like, you know, if you're going to kiss my nose, then kiss it hard. Don't softly kiss my nose. What is this? Tickle me with a feather next? But it's so weird. Look, here, let's watch. Bring it home. Bring it home. It's your love of everything. Leave your kids home. Mount Airy Lodge hates your kids. Come and jump in the pool.
For
reservations, phone 1-800-441-4410.
4410. Remember, no kids. What? Is your love of everything. Why the hell did he have his eyes closed? It's like, I have got to save her. I have got to save her. This kiss. I'm going to kiss this woman's nose like nobody has ever kissed a nose before. When I close my eyes again after this evening, I want to be able to taste her nose. Still, I want to be able to recall the taste of the tip of her nose. It was too passionate of a nose kiss. You're going to kiss somebody on the nose, it's got to be something like you do to a puppy. Oh. You give somebody a little... You don't close your eyes and... It's so stupid. Anyway, I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we did this. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to go into the Super Chats now. Quite frankly, superchat.com. Quite frankly, superchat.com. Let's go there. All right. Mayor Adams out of EBT cards. Yes, I got that much. Joe S. says, testing. It worked, Joe. It worked. Over on Rumble. Let's see. We have a Rumble rant over there. This is nice. Thank you so much. Stephen Ellis says, if I were a doctor, I would prescribe, quite frankly, to treat anxiety and depression. Have a great weekend, guys. Steve, that is such a nice thing to say. That's a nice thing to say, because I am all for prescribing things like music and whatever for people who have stuff going on. It should be used like medicine, because you can mix it all. It can make things worse. Everybody knows that if you're feeling sad and you listen to a happy song, it only makes you feel even worse. Then it doesn't bring you up. You've got to know how to prescribe and use music. You've got to match frequency until you can slowly raise the frequency. You got to match it. Okay? If you're negative, you got to wallow just a little bit and bring it up to an emotion that is maybe a little bit more powerful, though negative. Then from there, you're exercising all that negativity. The anger is out. Now you're feeling a little bit more exhilarated. Then, eventually you can get yourself out of a hole by prescribing things like music. Podcasts? Perhaps. I'll be your Huckleberry. Let's see. Witchypoo22 says, happy birthday month to Aurora. Yes. Happy birthday month to Aurora. She kicked it all off with a bang today. Like I said, when I got home, when Aurora and Lauren got home, they went to the Home Depot and a few other things with my mother-in-law this morning. And when they were getting back, I got a call from Lauren outside. She said, hey, can you come outside and help us? And I thought I was going out there to help with some grocery bags or whatever. And I see Aurora just kind of like frozen on the first step of the stoop coming up into our house, and she didn't look right. And she's just kind of she put that face on, and she wanted me to carry her. She didn't want to walk because her stomach was hurting. And I was like, what the hell is this now? So for the next 10 minutes, I bring her upstairs, and she's just a lump in my arms. And I, put her down on the couch and set her up, get her all comfortable, whenever. And that's when Lauren and I are just trying to understand what's going on. And thankfully, she's pretty advanced linguistically, because we were able to get some out of her. And she said, it hurt like her stomach hurt. Then she said, we thought that for a while there. She said it hurt when she peed. So then we're thinking, is this a UTI or something? We didn't know. We're trying to check things off, gather information so we can call the doctor. And then, she said that her back hurt. But when she said her back hurt, she kept touching her neck. So wait, does it hurt when you swallow? And she said, yeah. So we checked her throat. And we saw one of those, like tonsil stones. A little bit of redness, but not that bad. So that's when I started calling up some doctors and getting some things underway. And the fact that that her stomach hurt her. I'm like, why? Okay, the throat and the stomach. And I forgot who told me. It might have been Tracy. She said, that might be strep. Especially that age, there's a lot of stomach issues that come along with kids who get strep. So I said, all right, but it's just crazy that her stomach hurts her so much that she doesn't want to walk. So the whole day she's barely walked. Finally, we got it checked out. She had the strep. We got the amoxicillin. She already had a dose, but Lauren brought her to bed a little while ago, and she got in touch. She texted me how everything went. She said, oh, she's already sleeping. She's good. No fever and whatever. She said she walked over to pick out her books so that they can read the books together before she went to bed. And she said, Mom, I did it. I walked. Like she's a mall in the Night Visitors or something like that. God forbid. But, yeah, she's usually jeteing around the room all day long. So it sucked to see her all laid up like that. But, we'll keep it up tomorrow, and hopefully she keeps feeling better and better, quicker and quicker. All right. What else we have? What else do we have here? On Foxhole again, Patriot Game. Thank you, Patriot Game. Gave a cookie. Chai Possum says, nice shirt. I was just thinking about that yesterday. Love to you, Lauren and Aurora. Hope she feels better. Yes, I know. Thank you for the gift. Got a couple of different Mardi Gras shirts and trinkets sent to me this year. I don't think I've worn this on air yet, but I just grabbed it, and that's what happened. Robert Sarnes, thank you. Tempo 420, Porpoiseful, Jesse 81138, C Blanche, Sean Joe, Rise Attire says Coke and Hose in the Poconos. And then Witchy Poo again says, I hope everything is okay with Joe Elaine. Well, I second that. Hope everything's great with Joe. Haven't heard. Hope she's okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this out there with the some stuff with Hawaii. Then we're going to take a break. We'll come back and we'll take some calls from whoever's got something to say. All right? Now, this was a couple of days ago, and I've been saving it for a night like tonight. Wall Street Apes put it out there, but I think that they just syndicated it on behalf of someone, a woman who is in Maui, very emotionally distraught. Of course, it's a very distressing situation, and virtual ropes have been put up around this whole thing. I know I know many of you saw the reporting of these gigantic barriers, black plastic barriers all along the highways and stuff, so that people aren't able to see whatever is going on within the real destruction zones there. Mainstream media is not showing you the horror the Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii fires victims went through. The question is, why? Here's a 2-minute video. Listen to this woman, what she's saying.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for your concern and for contacting me. It's really bad out here. It's really bad. I don't know how much is on the media. I haven't had a minute to look at the media, but people are finding whole families in cars that are just charcoaled and fried. My best friend Michelle, her brother's family, just in the car. They find the car and they find mom and dad in the front seat and the 3 kids in the back. The other bad thing is that school was out that day that the fire raged through Lahaina. So parents were at work and all the kids were at home. So there's massive amounts of children who perished. We've been taking supplies. No one's been sleeping. We have 3.
Not only that, but of course, when officials are asked about this stuff, there's been very awkward, defensive, standoffish answers. They don't even want to speculate about loss of life. Now, as far as people being found in their cars, that can very easily be. I mean, in any kind of a wildfire, forest fire situation, you can get caught up in that real quick. Had people tell me, and we've seen a lot. And once you start seeing those dash cam footage of people like getting out of Paradise, California, even though you're just watching a video, I can see how in a moment's notice you can just be trapped on all sides, fire, smoke, And with the prevailing winds and all that stuff, it creates a blowtorch situation where, yeah, people can asphyxiate. And I can see how people can die very quickly in those situations. It's not just as easy as, press the gas, get out of there, or why don't you just leave, run away from the fire. But that does not explain all of the other anomalies. And there's quite a few crazy ones, too. Really, really crazy ones. But let's keep going.
3 families in our home in Kihei. We're trying to open up a second home, and now we're trying to get homes for people who have lost everything. The roads are crazy. It's hard. You know, there's only one road going into Lahaina plus the backside, and the backside's pretty dangerous. We got Ignite a Life up, helping as best we can. We spent the entire day taking care of our patients at the office at Maui Cardiology. At 2 o'clock, we closed and we started shopping for folks. And we sent out 3 Suburbans and 3 other trucks full of supplies this morning through the Hawaiian Canoe Club. We're continuing to help. People are not sleeping on this side. 3 fires broke out again yesterday in Hanakauai, which is past Lahaina. The fire is still not contained up in Kula. But anyway, anything that you guys want to donate, we're happy to take donations. And like I said, Ignite a Life always gives 100% of your donation. We never take admin fees or anything. And we want to just say thank you to everybody who's been contacting us. We appreciate your support and we love you and God bless everybody. This is just really bad. It's really bad. So just pray for Maui.
And that's it. Pray for the families, that she says. So that's a little bit there. Now we saw on the I saw some response to the celebrity response. I know that a lot of the social media sites out there, they wanted to really call attention to how amazing Oprah and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson are in a time of need. Well, here's a lot of the more popular responses I've gotten to this, as it is with anything. Whenever celebrities pop up now, I love it. Out of everything that I can celebrate the most in the last 5 to 10 years, especially, is the death of celebrity, the fall from grace. How they're just pompous and largely unwanted. I know that when you talk about even the Hollywood writers' strikes and all that stuff, you're not even talking about the A-listers. We're talking about the people who are behind the scenes in the business there, who are writing scripts, who are in production, the key grips, things like that. So we know what strikes do for little people, but as far as it trickles up to that level, that nobody cares about celebrities anymore. There are some people who are just woefully lost in that world, but still, take a listen to this. This is prevailing thought, I would have to imagine.
So if you send a donation, just click now.
Did I just witness what I think I witnessed? Please don't tell me I just saw a billionaire standing next to a multi-millionaire begging the average everyday citizen for donations that can barely get by due to a real-life recession, living paycheck to paycheck, barely can pay rent, barely can put food on the table for our families, okay? Living in a real-life recession in a country where our president is giving away all our resources to another country for money. If you two don't go take your Hollywood elite behinds to your other Hollywood elite friends and politician buddies that got millions like you do and billions and get all that money together and help out Maui, you are out your damn mind. Please don't insult our intelligence like that. And after you guys do all of that, you will have enough money to help the rest of us. Boo. Get out of here with that. The nerve.
See, that's the whole thing there, though, is that they don't have money. The government doesn't have money. They steal money, and they borrow money on behalf of people who make money, who actually have value. People who are not in government are valuable because they make things. Whether they make a corn dog or whether they make some kind of technology that can clean up the seas and rid it of all of its plastic pollution from China. Whether they make a corn dog, whether they mow lawns, or whether they build cars, that is all done by people. That's where value is created. And that value is de-incentivized, and that value is made, is really squandered through taxation. So when you have billionaires like Oprah Winfrey up there with that hulking Dwayne Johnson behind her, with their smiles and come on, let's pitch in together. You know what? I'd love to pitch into a lot of things, and I do. I don't show where I put my money and my support and what I think a lot of people out there are the same. But I can give a lot more, and the average person, lower class, middle class people could give a lot more if they weren't stolen from constantly. When so much of what you earn through the year is taken by a government that is worthless and hateful and wasteful, and it is just destroyed. They take all that wealth, they take all of that creation, and they turn it into a negative. It's like whatever. I don't get bullied. I don't get bullied by checkout counters. Like, you want to give $2 to one charity or another? No, I don't. And it's not because I wish anybody will. I give enough I give as much as I can, and I always try to extend myself. And I'm a very charitable person. I know most people in my life are the same way too. But our shirts, you say, well, that guy would take his shirt off for you, give you his shirt off right off his back. Well, our shirts have already been taken off of our backs against our will. We're being stripped down by government, whether it be state, federal. It's horrible. It's horrible. You think about what the response for something like this would be if people weren't already put into the poorhouse like this woman is talking about. And then to have to suffer the indignity of watching $100 billion plus that we can account for going to scam wars in places like Ukraine. My gosh. It's just ridiculous. Well, here's a little bit more from Greg Reese. It's the latest he put out today. It's about 4 minutes long, and he talks a little bit about some of those anomalies. Grace, really graceful. She just put out part 3, an addendum to the first 2 Maui fire videos that she put out, I think, a couple of weeks ago. She waited a little while longer. She did some interviews with people that are out there in Maui, collected a little bit more data, and also waited to see what government response was. And as she said, it is a paltry response when you think about how they're giving $700 per household out there. That's what the federal government thinks is fair at this point. And when you do, and she does the math in there, it comes out to about $9 million worth of relief compared to the $100 billion plus that we're sending to the failed proxy war disaster in Ukraine. Well, here's a little bit more over here from Greg Reese.
The recent fires in California, Australia, and now Hawaii are unlike anything we've ever seen before. They are being called forest fires and wildfires, but they are clearly something very different. These fires are burning homes into a white powdery ash footprint, while often leaving the surrounding green trees and shrubs practically untouched. In extreme cases, forest fires can reach temperatures up to 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, and the melting point of aluminum is 1,220 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is possible for an extreme forest fire to melt aluminum. But there are cars with puddles of melted aluminum that were clearly not in the wildfire area. And melted glass, which has a melting point around 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. These are unexplained anomalies. In the California fires of 2018, cars were randomly bursting into flames on the freeway, with no surrounding fires. We've seen these same anomalies in New York City on September 11th, 2001. Cars completely burned out with no explanation. In Maui, these unnatural fires spared the homes of the rich while burning the native homes of the working class. With precision, these fires destroyed the most envied, high-valued areas of Maui. For decades, directed energy weapons have been classified, but they have been on the public record for several years now. Directed energy weapons, known as DEWs, have the ability to burn homes with this sort of precision. But in order to be this precise, the area would have to be mapped out. In January of this year, green lasers were seen over Hawaii, which could best be described as a geospatial array for mapping terrain. We have seen that among the ashy ruins, there are blue-colored objects that have somehow survived the devastation. Blue cars, blue umbrellas, a blue boat, blue planters. Videos online are going viral that show how lasers can easily burn through certain colored objects, but objects that are colored blue remain unharmed. Directed energy weapons include lasers, millimeter wave, and microwave. They are all based on light frequencies, and different wavelengths of light affect colors differently. For example, in laser tattoo removal, different wavelengths are used for removing different colors. And this is because color is a quality of light. Each color has its own frequency. Interestingly enough, the frequency of the color blue is 6.66. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Now, we've talked about, we've taken plenty of calls about widespread incompetence. We know that that's definitely a case. We know incompetence and Agenda 2030 environmental, policy about brush clearing and everything else can really lead to terrible situations. The incompetence of, who's sending children home when, by and large, the schools could have probably been safer as far as structures go. The power companies, their responses of whether or not the power was on around the time of the fire, who's off, who set the warning, so why didn't the warning sign or the alarms go off? I mean, there's just so much failure all over the place. It's very easy for somebody to start speculating about coordination. Very interesting about how the green lasers in January could have been about mapping, though those lasers were blamed on China, if I remember correctly. As far as the burned out cars in Lower Manhattan during 9/11, that is talked about at great length by Dr. Judy Wood in her documentary Where Did the Towers Go?, which has some people think that it's I always I've watched that quite a few times. We put it on the network a couple of times too. I know people like Jason Burmis think that she discredits herself in a number of ways, but anomalies like those are always very. I pay attention to it. I take note of it. So there's a lot of weird things going on there, but of course we're getting the media blackouts, not a lot of substantial answers for very pressing questions, and the death toll is probably far more staggering and far more heart-wrenching when you think about young lives lost. So it's 8:42. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a couple of calls for the last 15 minutes, see what comes through. And the number is 914-200-0269. And you know what? For the special line tonight, I will get rid of the inside info line, and we're going to go Hawaii again. Anything in particular? Inside info on Hawaii, or anybody that's been out there, the Hawaii line is 914-369-1236. Everybody else, 914-200-0269. We'll be back in just a moment.
If Bill Gates gets a .44 Magnum on air, shoves it in his mouth, and blows his brains out the back of his head, the next day after it's confirmed he's dead, I will blow my brains out on air.
Give me back my son! Let's go, Tiger!
Quite frankly, listen live or download it and take it with you wherever you go while you're driving, walking, working, or you dirty dog. For all things, go to quitefrankly.tv. You like what you see? Become a sponsor. Quite Frankly streams live weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern wherever you get your podcast. So, for everything, it's quitefrankly.tv.
What do you get when you guzzle down sweets?
Type 2 adult onset diabetes.
Okay, that was a very short break. I thought the break was going to be longer than that. Why did I pick 5 videos that were like 2 seconds long? Jeez, I couldn't even catch my breath. What have I done? That was bad decision making tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But they were hilarious. Whoever the hell is that Tiger Woods that's teeing off over there? Whoever is screaming, "Give me back my son," is hilarious. Wait a second. Let's go back to that. The "Give me back my son." Where is it? Diabetes. Matt. Give me back my son. Okay. So I think this is Tiger Woods. And if you don't know what the reference is, this is Mel Gibson's big line from that movie Ransom with Gary Sinise. And that movie Ransom is completely underrated. The acting is incredible. The tension that is built up in that movie is incredible. If you haven't seen Ransom in a long time, or if you've never seen it, I would say jump into that. The acting all across the board, the male leads, supporting female leads, it's incredible. Anyway, it's become a meme. The "Give me back my son," but the "Give me back my son" scene. I mean, your hair is on. Your hair is standing up. You're on the edge of your seat. It's a pretty serious scene, but to see it pop up in all of these compilation of videos of people screaming things right after a golfer tees off, I love it. You know, some people scream Baba Booey and all that. This is by far my favorite. Tiger Woods teeing off. Listen.
Give me back my son! Let's go, Tiger!
Oh, I love it. One more time for the road. We have to. One more time for the road.
Give me back my son! Let's go, Tiger!
I love that people start to crack up like you have a choice. Anybody who looks at that guy and goes, "Oh, just don't you have any class?" That person is a ninny. That's hilarious. And that is part of the reason why I can't wait to bring Aurora to right field, Yankee Stadium one day, just so she can hear top-class heckling. That's just Class A heckling. It's the best. I just love sitting back and chuckling as I eat my garlic fries. I don't heckle that much unless I have my friends around me to give me some inspiration. But if Lauren and I go out to I've never heckled a baseball player or anyone, like with just me and Lauren going out to Yankee Stadium for a date night. That's never happened. I don't know. You need to be encouraged by all of your dumbass guy friends to do shit like that. So when I go out and I'm not with my guy friends, I'm just sitting back and I'm listening to everybody else just be hilarious. And it's worth the ticket. It's worth the ticket at the game for me. Anyway.
Give me back my son! Let's go, Tiger!
Oh, I love it. There's another one in here. Hold on, Matt. This was the night of my bachelor party. We were walking back from the cigar bar, wherever we went. Where did we go to? We went to the Carnegie Club to have cigars, and it was a Sinatra night that night. It was really great. That's how we ended the night. So we went to the Carnegie Club, and when we were walking back to Grand Central, we passed by Trump Tower, and you know this is our president. President Trump, and Matt was having a good time there. Watch, this is Matt.
Trump Tower, baby. Look at how fucking elegant it is. It's way nicer than the White House. Trump should be there. Should be with us. I'll keep him safe.
I'll keep him safe. There's more. There's more that night. I'll keep him safe. He should be with us. That's right. Trump should have moved the White House to New York City, up on the top level of Trump Tower. That's where it should have been moved. Matt's right about that one. All right, 914-200-0269. Now we have less time because of all my improv and all that other stuff. And what do we have? Also on the Hawaii line. That's on. Okay, first one up is King. King, what do you got to say about tonight?
Hey, you know what I'm going to do the next time I see you?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm going to kiss you softly on the nose.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I will.
No.
I'll do it.
It's too
Yes, I will.
Don't do it.
I will do it. I'll do it.
No.
You can't stop me. I'll do it.
I'm already nervous. I'm already nervous to go home tonight because I know that's something that Lauren will do before she goes up to bed. I know I'm going to get a kiss.
Do it, Lauren. Do it, Lauren. Do it.
Anyway, hey, how you been? We haven't heard from you in a while.
Pretty good. Hey, happy birthday to Abe's son over there.
Yes, happy birthday, Oliver.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Everything's good. I hope everything's good with you. I'll try to make this quick, but I always say that and almost never do. But just talk about Sal over there. Great man. This is what people don't realize. It isn't just the police department, right? So you remember a couple calls back a while ago, my political views are very well known at my place of employment, and I was almost fired after being falsely accused of something, and I know it was because the majority of the people I work for and my coworkers do not share my political views, which are the same as Sal's. So this one broad manager, who I know is a big liberal, right? It's funny too, right? Because I wore my Sal Greco shirt to work. And it's funny because she looks at all the shirts I wear to work. And one night I wore my Quite Frankly shirt to work.
Uh-oh.
And her eyes immediately, it's the one where you got the Uncle Sam pointing, says Quite Frank. You know that one? Well,
Yeah.
Of course you know that one.
Yeah.
But I want everybody else to know, hey, go buy that one, you guys. That's a great shirt. I got it in royal blue with the Quite Frankly Uncle Sam. But my eyes immediately zeroed on your logo. And she's like, what's that? What's that? And I'm like, it's a podcast my friend does. So anyways, same broad, I told you I was going to get my Sal Greco shirt and wear it to work, which I've done numerous times. And one night she's in, and she immediately zeroes in on my shirt again. And she goes, who's Sal Greco? So if you buy the shirt, it says Sal Greco did nothing wrong. On the back, there's a picture of him, and it says, help this New York cop. So my response was to just turn around, show her the back, and she goes, oh, salgreco.com, huh? Help this New York cop. And I just said, yeah. So I'm sure she went online to see who exactly this guy was.
Right.
Who I'm associating with. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Now, these people are insane, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what people have got to understand is this goes further than just Sal or me at my little bullshit job. It's political oppression. It's trying to suppress different political beliefs. They believe we're insane, we're violent, that we're going to beat them up if they don't share our political views, which they've shown to do that themselves. It's projection is what it is, and they're trying to paint us as them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy, but I will not back down. I would just like to address the MMA fighter. You said that people are spineless and scared to lose their jobs. Well, let me tell you something, pal. Not all of us, because Frankie's known me a long time, and he knows I'm very vocal and not shy about sharing my views at work with these weirdos.
Oh, and I know, yeah. No. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
So, and, they always say you don't bring politics into work, which I am a true believer in. But at my place of employment, it's nothing but political. All over my place of employment, in the back room, by the way, where the employees are, not out in the store, it's all these celebrate this, celebrate that. I won't get into exactly what they're saying to celebrate.
Oh, I know.
But you and your audience can guess.
Oh, I know.
What matters and what doesn't.
I just opened up last night's show talking a little bit about that because I had some friends of mine who still work in some local gyms, showing that the Celebrate Welcome Week, this and that week. It's all about non-citizens, immigrants, and U.S.-based residents. They don't want to say citizens. They everything is about really just grooming people. Like you were saying before, you said that they think that we're violent and that we're crazy and all that. They don't. No. The thing is that they don't like how consistent the logic is, and they think that consistent logic. Yeah. They think consistent logic means that you are somehow old school and oppressive because they obviously have nothing tethering them down to reality. If every day that there's a new reimagining of what the human species is all about. But it's not that we're violent. They use violence to be able to beat out any difference in opinion that could in some way ruin their claims to everything. So they pretend that everybody around them is violent to justify the violence they know they need in order to win, because they're definitely not winning any discussions with anybody. There's no debates.
No. It's shut up and this is what I say. And if I could just say to Indigrove in the chat room, yes, I am looking for trouble, man, yes. Because I'm not just going to sit by while stupidity goes on and stuff I know is wrong. Now, I don't care what nobody else does or how they live their life. I'm just going to work. But when I got to walk into work and I'm consistently being bombarded by stuff I don't agree with, well, then I'm going to voice my opinion. Yeah, I'm asking for trouble in the Grove. Yeah, I am. Bring it.
Well, it's good to hear from you again, King, and who knows, maybe
yes, sir.
Maybe the night at least one of the nights that Sal comes into to visit in New York, maybe you come down too. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, we'll figure it out one of these days. You and I, we talk a lot. Yeah, that would be nice. We'll see what happens.
All right, have a good one, man.
All right, take care of yourself, man.
There you go. There's a great call from King. It's good to hear from him again. Sounds good. Sounds strong. 8:56. Let's see here. 8:56. We'll take one more call. I'll just make sure that I did not miss any of our super chats that came in. Let's take a call from, who's this? John?
Hey, wait a minute. You answered too fast. Where the hell do I get? There's that Tyler. Hey, pal, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Back up King, son of a bitch. I'm glad he still got a job. Yeah. So the inside thing on the Maui. I don't know if I call it the inside line or not the inside line, but my buddy's got a place called Maui Plane Ride over there. He runs charter service. He says it's a fucked up situation all the way around. He says the military's in there doing shit. He's bringing lunch to, what do you call it, the firefighters and first responders there, because he's got a plane, he flies around. He's on the other side of the island, but whatever, however. But yeah, it's a big shit show. The whole do thing ain't so much. It's more like, 100-mile-an-hour winds and, shit burns up.
I hear a lot of that, John, I hear a lot of that. I thank you for the call, because I'm always just open to whatever. I know when I see patterns in media coverage.
Yeah, Jim Lee's got the pictures, and he'll tell you.
Yeah, and thank you.
You know that Jim Lee guy? You know him?
I know him. Thank you so much for the call, John. I wish I had a little bit more time to take right now, but we're just about done. Jim Lee is a good place to go to. You know, he does not shy away from technocracy. He does not shy away from talking about conspiracies of powerful people to be able to take over what was once free lands and free people. But he sees this as being a confluence of really unfortunate situations that has really just blowtorched people out of existence quick and in the most horrific ways. You know, I take it. You know, I don't know how to investigate this stuff. I don't know it. There's a lot of things that I see that look a little magical and suspicious to me. That somebody who is knowledgeable and working inside of a certain profession, especially firefighters and stuff who see things all the time, that it's not very magical to them. It's actually very repeatable results. So I pay attention. But the one thing that always comes first for me is patterns in the media. Patterns in the media. And at the very least, we're talking about a major, major cover-up. Again, a major cover-up of untold amounts of death, especially for children. Because I mean, where's all the round-the-clock coverage? You're talking about 1,000 children, up to 1,000 children that are possibly missing. How many of them are just unaccounted for? They're on another part of the island. How many of them are dead that have been just turned to ash? For everybody out there who wants to make a case about climate change becoming a real problem, you think that this would be something that would be all over the place. Climate change just claim the lives of however many hundreds, if not 1,000 or so people. But that's not being done. In fact, it's being, diverted away. And now, is that because there is just way too much evidence of foul play, arson, or widespread dropping the ball from the energy companies to the sheriffs to everybody? I mean, it's suspicious. It stinks to high heaven. No matter what way you approach it, people are dead that should be alive, and it's slowly drifting into the background of everything as the media cycle swallows us whole once again. There's one more super chat on the Rumble. That is from Jellohead Jabroni. Good to see him again. Says, Francis, for a great week of interviews and shows. Keep up the outstanding work. Oh, I appreciate that very much, Jellohead. I love all of the support I can get, and I really do hope that over the course of the weekend, I'm able to welcome on more paid monthly subscribers to the show. I really do. If you go to quitefrankly.com.tv, quitefrankly.tv, go to the sponsor us page. You can right through Squarespace, you can become a sponsor for as little as $2 a month. As little as $24 a year. And it goes so far. If a couple of dozen people a week did something as small as that, then we would be able to hire more, we'd be able to invest more. I would never have computer problems that I have to wait weeks and weeks to be able to bide my time and my money, to be able to keep this thing going and getting stronger. There's a lot we can do, and a lot I want to do. And we're not NBC. This is new media. And we need you on board. And that's why I am always working to create more value for people who are monthly subscribers through pen pal ships, whether it be postcards or, traditional letters, typewritten or handwritten. There are Polaroids I'll be sending out tomorrow. There's a Polaroid club with plenty of room in there. Everybody who is a monthly subscriber is inside of these monthly giveaways. We just had 2 winners last night from August and July that we caught up on. There's book club. We got another great book club coming up in October. Become a sponsor. Grab a copy of Mario Puzo's The Godfather, and let's do this dance with Jay Dyer. Anyway, I'm working for you nonstop. I love what I do, and thank you for making it possible. CFS QTX says, I can't believe Aurora is about to have another birthday already. Time flies too fast. Claire. Thank you so much, Claire. I know. And so the September postcards will be somehow done by Aurora. It's not straight up child labor, but we're going to give her some painting assignments, things like that. So we'll announce the postcard special. But everybody who signs up for the monthly postcards anyway will get one, no matter what. Dooku Dan says, Frank, here's a resort that ran ads all the time in the 80s, Channel 11. The Nevele in Ellenville, New York. The Catskills. No longer in business, but a real earworm. Wait a second. Before we leave, I've got to see this. Because I remember Catskill stuff. Hold on.
If a line for fun just goes on, and some overgrown mountain marathon, it was up to you, but you should have gone to the Nevele. It's a place to go with your family, or when the two of you want some privacy, where you feel at home and you're glad to be at the Nevele. You can play all day or lie beside the pool. You know the greatest food.
I think that's the guy from The Shining. I corrected them. I corrected her too. That's the guy from The Shining. He's going to kill those kids.
And service is the rule. At the Nevele, there's so much to do, or don't do a thing. People do that too. You can have it all, and it's up to you. At the Nevele.
Okay, the Nevele. I have never seen that one. I've never seen that. I thought that would, if we're seeing Mount Airy Lodge in the Poconos, then why the hell would we have not? They should have bought some commercials down here, unless maybe my mother remembers it. Maybe it's just before my time. That is the early 80s. But the Mount Airy Lodge, they were buying up commercials all throughout the 90s, and they never changed the commercial. They just kept buying more ads. Yeah, Grady from The Shining. Oh, dear. Dear me, oh my. All right. Is there anything else here? Anything? Did I miss that? Thank you so much for that, Dooku Dan. Nevele. I feel like I just was about to say one last thing. Oh, that's right. The weekend roundup is kicking off. This is from Abe, father of Oliver. The weekend roundup kicks off right after the show on QuiteFrankly.tv. 80 of the best videos on the internet from the last week and all of your Frankly pals. Switch over now to QuiteFrankly.tv for a weekend full of content fun, which all culminates on Sunday night with the nightcap, the Sunday nightcap that is curated by me. But right now, go and grab yourself a refreshment. You can do whatever and just have QuiteFrankly.tv on the background. There's tons of information, comedy, weirdness, memes, good stuff. QuiteFrankly.tv. Go ahead and let us have a good time together. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for another wonderful, wonderful week. And I'm looking forward to next week, which starts on Tuesday. But be on the lookout for any kind of a fun bonus broadcast that we can do together. And soon, a lot of exclusive content is going to be streamed live from my new office once I get the sound and the acoustics and the lighting all done. Oh, man. It's going to be a wonderful holiday season. I hope we get plenty of snow nights because then I don't have to leave the house at all. I'll have full capabilities there that I have right here. All right. Bye-bye.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience, and now our super chatter starting with CFS QTX. Dooku Dan, and Joe S. Thank you to my friends over on the Rumble Rants. That is Jellohead Jabroni and Stephen Ellis. To all my wonderful friends on Foxhole, nestled cozily on QuiteFrankly.tv, I have just released the Scratchin', so claim your rewards right now. And on D-Live, I'm going to empty the treasure bin, the treasure chest. That's all I have for you. Bye-bye, everybody. Much love.